We're getting ready to start, gentlemen, if you want to take your seats. We welcome you to the LPUA meeting. We, as your representatives in the LPUA, welcome your involvement and encourage your participation. This meeting is a public hearing. If you wish to address the LPUA on any of the matters on the agenda, please fill out a request to address the LPUA form noting which agenda item you wish to discuss, and if you would turn that into Council Clerk Veronica Williams, seated to my left, prior to the call of the agenda item. It's important that the blue form be filled out completely, or you'll not be given an opportunity to speak. If the card is not legible to the clerk, you will not be given that opportunity. If you have materials you wish to submit to the LPUA, please give those to Ms. Williams as well. In an effort to allow everyone an opportunity to speak, the 5-minute rule is in effect, and we ask speakers to refrain from debating, personal attacks, and from making confrontational or derogatory comments. The press isn't here, so I'm not worried about their seating. Meeting procedures are by resolution and not by Robert's Rules of Orders. Any documents that the public wants to see can be found on www.lafayettela.gov. I have no announcements. My fellow council members, LPUA members, say they have no announcements. I see no one from the administration here at the beginning of the meeting, so what I'm going to do is recognize you to please announce the bids and that you request for a vote from the LPUA.
Yes, sir. My name is Thomasina Oliver. I'm the purchasing manager. These are bids for LUS stock items, which are non-budgeted. Therefore, I need council approval to award these to the low bidders.
Second.
I've got a motion by Mr. Nakhan, a second by Mr. Boudreau. Thank you, Thomasina. Do you want to read those bid items, please, Liz? Wait, let me turn your mic on.
15,000 feet of 500 MCM aluminum 15 kV URD jacketed primary cable. Vendor is Grisco Utility Supply. And estimated contract amount is $58,500.
Thank you very much. Do we have any blue cards on this item?
No, sir.
Then if you would call for the vote.
District 4?
Yes.
District 6? Yes. District 7?
Yes.
Motion is approved.
All right, thank you. Liz, if you would, I would ask...
I move that we take all introductory items in group.
Mr. Boudreau has asked that all introductory items be taken in globo. We've got a second by Mr. Nakhan. If you would, read the first item.
Ordinance 24, 2015 LPUA. An ordinance of the Lafayette Public Utilities Authority establishing retail water and sewer services to customers outside the corporate limits of the city of Lafayette.
Motion.
I guess I don't have a second.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
I've got a motion and a second. Hang on, Mr. Boudreau.
Yes, this is for legal, or possibly Terry could help us out with this, and it's just, I guess, more a point of clarity. Historically, even prior to coming onto this council, I've always heard that the utility system services, obviously it is owned by the residents of the city of Lafayette, and it services those within the corporate limits, and this allows us now to offer service outside of those corporate limits. Is this ordinance alone sufficient, or are there any constitutional or charter ramifications that needs to be addressed along with this?
Hang on, Mike.
It's legal to serve outside the city limits. I mean, yes, it is owned by the city. The idea of serving outside the city limits is, of course, it's a revenue-producing public utility, so the city realizes the revenue from that. So the extensions are not prohibited, but I think this is intended to establish the policy of the Utilities Department as to how those extensions would be made in with regard to water and sewer in particular, because the charter says that LPUA is the governing authority of the Utilities Department, it would be incumbent on the LPUA to set that kind of policy for the Utilities Department. This is what the ordinance is about.
Right, right. Terry, and I
may
know we've sold water wholesale to other municipalities and to the different water districts and whatnot. And I think this is good. I mean, I like it, and it's just going to allow us to compete and do some other things. Just from a, and I know you wasn't here when LUS was created, but you have certainly taken it to another level. From a business standpoint, why haven't this been done before? You know, this idea of selling directly to residential customers.
Yeah, well, let's just kind of back up just one step. And first of all, the utility system does have the authority to sell water on a wholesale basis outside the city.
Right.
And as I read this ordinance, it would not change that. So those contracts in place, those obligations we have in place would continue to be there. In many cases, municipalities use their water and sewer system as an incentive to encourage annexation. So folks who live outside the city who don't want to deal with well water or want to have the better fire protection rating that the city can offer them, or don't have sewer available to them and having to have their own sewer plant, this gives them an opportunity to choose to annex to get into a municipality, whether it's the city of Lafayette or city of Scott or Broussard or Youngsville or whatever. Any of those communities will typically require annexation to be able to provide those services to them. The city of Lafayette has been kind of a mixed bag as what's happened in the past. Sometimes we've extended outside the city, depending on the, has to depend on the policy set by the city parish president or the mayor. And other times it's been to keep it all within the city.
Okay.
So what this does, as I appreciate it, is it would allow the LPUA to make that decision so that the LPUA could decide whether they want to or don't want to, what circumstances they want to, what circumstances they don't want to. So it puts another layer of decision-making on a policy that's pretty important to other municipalities in how they deal with their business. Typically, as I said, they don't allow for providing services outside their city limits. Lafayette's been kind of, like I said, mixed, especially since consolidation.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
And if I may, I just want to add, this is intended to address issues as they come up in public discussion, and that the policy be made here at the LPUA level where it should be made, and not be made on purely political reasons. All righty. Thank you, Mr. Huval. Thank you, Mr. Hebert. If there's no other questions.
Mr. Chairman, I have one more comment. Just,
Yes.
there's an inadvertent omission of a line in the title of the ordinance. I just wanted to read the correct title of the ordinance for the record. An ordinance of the Lafayette Public Utilities Authority establishing the policy of the Utilities Department regarding retail water and sewer services to customers outside the corporate limits of the city of Lafayette.
Is that necessary for an amendment?
No, sir.
No?
No, sir.
Okay.
That was just the manner in which the title was read. I just wanted to correct that reading for the record.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Are there any blue cards on this matter for introductory?
Oh, Mr. Chairman, one more thing. Sorry. I'm incorrect that was all that's necessary. Veronica brought to my attention that was also the inadvertent omission was also in the published agenda. So it would be appropriate to have an amendment to the agenda to state the correct title of the item as I read it previously.
I have a motion by Mr. Nakhan,
Second.
second by Mr. Boudreau. If you would read it as it should be, so it will show up in that form
Sure.
at final.
An ordinance of the Lafayette Public Utilities Authority establishing the policy of the Utilities Department regarding retail water and sewer services to customers outside the corporate limits of the city of Lafayette.
Thank you very much, and if you could, Veronica, see that that's on the agenda for the final,
Correct.
and we'll have a vote on that now. Go ahead, Liz. Been offered, motion and seconded.
District 6?
No,
Yes.
District 7,
Yes.
District 4.
Yes.
Amendment is approved
Okay, now,
as amended. District 6? No. District 7,
yes.
District 4.
Yes.
Motion has failed.
Is it failing because of lack of a quorum?
No, you have a quorum, but it will always take 3 of the
Three.
5 to pass any
Okay.
matter, any
And
item.
I would ask that you put it on the next agenda so that we can try and get a quorum for a vote.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. If there's nothing else, this meeting is adjourned.